Cancer, before I even touch this deck today, I just need to say something first. The theme that came through for your reading today is not a comfortable one. It is close to home, literally. And I think part of you has already been feeling this for a while, even if you have not had the words for it yet. I am sitting here with my deck. I have not pulled a single card yet, and already there is this feeling that keeps coming up as I shuffle. It is that specific kind of discomfort that lives right in your chest. The kind that comes not from strangers, not from enemies out in the world, but from the people who were supposed to be your safe place, the people who share your last name, your childhood memories, your dinner table. Because Cancer, what this reading is about today, is not someone from outside your life who worked against you. This is closer than that. This is about the people inside your home, inside your family circle, who have been watching you, monitoring you, and quietly making sure that certain things, your success, your love life, your confidence never quite reached the level they were supposed to reach. I know that is hard to hear, but I also think part of you already knows. So let us look at these cards together and see exactly what has been going on. All right, Cancer, let me split this deck into 10 piles face down on the table. I am taking my time with this because I want the energy to settle before we look at anything. As I am doing this, I keep thinking about everything that came up when I was sitting with your topic today. There is something about this reading that feels very personal, very specific, like it has been waiting to be said for a long time. Okay, all 10 piles are down. And honestly, whatever is in these cards, I just want you to know that this reading comes from a place of care. Some truths are uncomfortable, but you deserve to know them. Okay, let me take the first card from the first pile and turn it over. And the first card we have here for you today, Cancer, is the Eight of Pentacles. This is already telling me so much about where you are right now. Cancer, this card is about someone who works, really works. The kind of person who shows up consistently, who puts in the hours, who refines their craft quietly without needing applause or recognition. And that is you. I think you have always been this person. The one in your family who kept their head down, kept building, kept trying to create something solid and real for yourself. There is a dedication in your energy that is genuinely impressive. But here is what is sitting with me around this card, and I need you to really hear this. When I look at the Eight of Pentacles in the context of what came through for your reading today, what I am picking up is not just effort. I am picking up effort that has been quietly undermined. You have been working this hard for this long, and the results have never quite matched what your dedication deserved. Opportunities that seemed close somehow slipped away. Doors that should have opened stayed shut a little longer than made sense. And I think part of you chalked it up to timing or bad luck or just not being ready yet. But what this card is showing me as the very first card in this reading is that the obstacle was never inside you. It was around you. Specifically, it was inside the circle of people you trusted most. The people who had just enough access to your life, your plans, your movements to quietly redirect things without you ever seeing their hands in it. The Eight of Pentacles placed here is not just about your work ethic. It is about the fact that your work ethic has been operating inside a system that was never fully designed for your success. And that is something we are going to unpack completely as we move through these cards today. Because here is what I want you to sit with before we go any further. The fact that you kept going, kept building, kept showing up despite results that never quite made sense, that is not naivety, Cancer. That is strength. As a water sign ruled by the moon, your devotion to those around you runs deep. And that depth is exactly what made you keep believing in people who did not deserve that belief. And it is about to be rewarded very differently. All right, moving to the second pile now. Let me turn this one over. And the second card is the Hanged Man. And the moment this came out, I felt something shift in the energy of this reading because this card right after the Eight of Pentacles is not a coincidence. This is the explanation. The Hanged Man is the energy of being suspended, not moving forward, not moving backward, just hanging there in a state of waiting that you never fully chose and never fully understood. And I think this feeling is going to be very familiar to you, Cancer. That specific frustration of knowing you are capable, knowing you have put in the work, and yet feeling like something invisible is holding you in place. Like no matter how hard you push, the ceiling stays exactly where it is. What I am picking up very strongly around this card is the role that family obligation has played in keeping you here. And I want to be specific about what I mean because this is not just about family being difficult or demanding. This is about something more deliberate than that. The Hanged Man in the Darkwood Tarot carries this quality of being bound, not by accident, but by design. Someone or several people in your family circle found it very convenient to keep you in this suspended state. Because a Cancer who is stuck, who is confused, who is spending their energy trying to figure out why things are not working, is a Cancer who is not paying attention to what is happening around them. And that is exactly where they wanted you. Distracted by your own stagnation, too busy questioning yourself to question them. The Hanged Man here is also showing me time. A significant amount of time that was taken from you while you were suspended in this state. And that is something I want you to feel the weight of. Not to stay in grief about it, but to fully understand the scale of what was done, because that understanding is part of what sets you free. All right, moving to the third pile now. Let me turn this card over and see what came through. Okay, the third card for you today, Cancer, and this one is sitting right next to everything we just talked about, is the Page of Pentacles. And this card arriving right here, right after the Hanged Man, feels like the first real breath of air in this reading because the Page of Pentacles is about paying attention. Not in a paranoid way, not in a reactive way, but in a very quiet, very focused, very deliberate way. This is the energy of someone who has started noticing things they previously overlooked. Small things. A comment that reveals more than it should. A family member who somehow already knew about a plan you had not shared with anyone. A conversation that got back to someone it was never meant to reach. These are the kinds of details that the Page of Pentacles is asking you to start collecting, Cancer. Because individually they might seem insignificant, but together they are telling a very clear story. What I am picking up here is that this awareness is either just beginning for you or is about to begin in a very concrete way. Something is going to happen or has recently happened that made you stop and think, wait, how did they know that? And once that question enters your mind, it does not leave because it is the right question. It is the question that starts pulling the entire thread. There is also something in the Page of Pentacles energy that I find really significant in this context. Pages are students. They are learning, and what Cancer is being asked to learn right now is how to read the room they have been living in with completely fresh eyes. To look at the family dynamics they grew up with and accepted as normal and ask whether any of it was actually normal at all. Psychologically, this is a profound shift. It is the moment a person moves from being inside the story to being able to observe it. And once you can observe it, Cancer, once you can see the pattern clearly, they lose the power that came from you not seeing it. That is exactly where this reading is taking you. Fourth pile. Now, turning this one over, and the fourth card for you today, Cancer, is the Seven of Wands. Okay, this one landed with a very specific feeling that I want to describe carefully because I think it is going to resonate with you in a way you did not expect. When I look at this card in the context of everything we have been building in this reading, what I am not seeing is Cancer on the defensive. What I am seeing is them, the people in your family who have been operating in the shadows of your life. And here is what is so revealing about this card appearing right now. Right after the Page of Pentacles showed us that your awareness is beginning to sharpen. They know, they can feel that something has shifted in you. And that feeling is making them defensive in a way they cannot fully hide anymore. Think about what that actually looks like in real life. Cancer, It might be a family member who suddenly becomes more curious about your plans than usual. Someone who asks just a few too many questions disguised as genuine interest. A person who gets oddly tense or dismissive when you mention something going well for you. Someone who tries to reinsert themselves into your life right at the moment you are starting to pull back. These are not coincidences. These are the behaviors of people who are used to having access and are starting to feel that access slipping away. What the Seven of Wands is showing me about these people is something psychologically very telling. They are defensive because they are operating from a position of fear, not strength. Everything they have done, the monitoring, the interference, the quiet sabotage of your opportunities and your love life, none of it came from a place of genuine power. It came from insecurity, from a need to manage you. Because an unmanaged cancer, a cancer who is fully free and fully thriving, somehow threatens something in them that they could never directly name or admit. What I want you to take from this card, Cancer, is not anger. What I want you to take is clarity. The defensiveness you might be sensing from certain family members right now is not about you doing something wrong. It is confirmation that you are finally doing something right. You are waking up and they know it. And that awareness in you, that quiet shift they can already feel, is something they have absolutely no way to stop because they built their control on your blindness. And your blindness, Cancer, is officially over. All right, I am moving to the fifth pile now. I am turning this card over. Cancer is the Ace of Cups. I need you to really stay with me for this one because this card is the one that I think is going to hit the deepest. The Ace of Cups is the purest form of emotional beginning. It is the card of love arriving, of a heart opening, of something genuinely beautiful being offered. And as a water sign ruled by the moon, this card is your natural energy, and it resonates with you on a soul deep level. In any other position, in any other reading, I would tell you that this is an incredible sign of new emotional energy coming into your life. But placed here in this reading, with everything we have already uncovered about what your family has been doing, this card is telling a very different story. There was a love, Cancer, a real one, someone who came into your life or tried to, who carried a genuinely good energy towards you, and that love did not reach you the way it was supposed to. Something happened. Maybe the relationship was undermined by comments from family members who planted seeds of doubt. Maybe there was interference that made the other person feel unwelcome or uncomfortable around your circle. Maybe information was shared that was never meant to be shared or withheld at exactly the wrong moment. However, it manifested, the result was the same. Something that could have grown into something real was quietly redirected away from you. What makes this particularly painful, and I want to acknowledge that pain directly, is that you may have blamed yourself for that relationship not working out. You may have spent time wondering what you did wrong, why it did not last, why something that felt so promising somehow dissolved. And the answer that this card is showing me is that the problem was not inside that connection. The problem was outside it. It was in the hands of people who decided, consciously or not, that you having a solid, loving partnership was somehow inconvenient for them. A Cancer who is deeply loved, who has a strong partner by their side, is a Cancer who needs their family of origin a lot less. And for people who have built their sense of control around your dependence on them, that kind of love was never going to be allowed in quietly. This card is confirmation, Cancer, that love was real and it was taken from you. Okay, I am moving to the sixth pile. Now I am turning this card over. And the sixth card that came through for you today, Cancer, sitting right next to everything we just uncovered, is the Two of Swords. This card is asking something very specific of you right now, Cancer. The Two of Swords is the energy of someone sitting at a crossroads with their eyes covered. Not because they cannot see, but because seeing feels like too much to handle all at once. And I want to be honest with you about what I am picking up here, because I think this is exactly where you are in this moment. You are starting to see the truth about what your family has been doing. The awareness that began with the Page of Pentacles is getting sharper. But there is a part of you that is still hesitating, still holding both swords, still not fully ready to lower them and look at the complete picture. And I understand that. I genuinely do, because what we are talking about here is not a stranger who betrayed you. This is family. These are people whose voices you grew up with, whose approval you may have spent years trying to earn, whose love you assumed was unconditional. Discovering that it came with conditions, with surveillance, with quiet sabotage, that is not a small thing to process. What the Two of Swords is showing me is that you are standing right at the edge of full clarity. The truth about the spying, about the blocked opportunities, about the love that was taken from you, it is all right there waiting. The only thing left is for you to make the decision to fully see it. And Cancer, that decision, as uncomfortable as it feels, is the most important one you will make in this entire chapter of your life. I actually had a moment like this in my own life once, where I had all the information I needed to see something clearly about someone close to me, but I kept finding reasons to wait. Looking back, I was not protecting myself. I was protecting the version of them I wanted to believe in. All right, I am moving to the seventh pile now. I am turning this card over. And the seventh card for you today, Cancer, is the Ten of Cups. After everything we have just moved through in this reading, this card feels like a window opening in a room that has been closed for a very long time. The Ten of Cups is traditionally the card of emotional fulfillment, of belonging, of feeling completely at home in your own life. But I want to reframe what that means for you specifically, Cancer. Given everything these cards have revealed today, because the fulfillment this card is pointing to is not coming from the family structure that has been surveilling you and holding you back. That structure was never going to give you this. And I think on some level you have always known that what I am picking up here is a very different kind of wholeness. One that you build yourself with people you chose rather than people you were assigned to. A chosen family, a partner, a circle that actually celebrates your wins instead of quietly redirecting them. The Ten of Cups here is karma working in your favor, showing you that everything your family of origin withheld from you, the genuine support, the unconditional love, the freedom to thrive is available to you through a completely different door. And what makes this card so powerful in this position is the timing of it. It appears right after the Two of Swords, right after the moment of choosing to fully see the truth, which tells me that clarity is the prerequisite. You cannot fully receive what this card is offering while you are still sitting with your eyes covered. The moment you choose to see completely, Cancer, this is what becomes available to you on the other side. And the most profound part is that the happiness waiting for you outside that family structure is not a consolation prize for what was taken. It is actually bigger, freer, and more genuinely yours than anything they ever would have allowed you to have. I am moving to the eighth pile now. I am turning this card over. And the eighth card for you today, Cancer, is the Knight of Wands. After the Ten of Cups showed us what is waiting for you emotionally, this card shows us who is carrying it toward you. The Knight of Wands is not a gentle, cautious energy. This is someone who moves with intention, with devotion, with a kind of bold directness that does not stop easily when it encounters resistance. And that last part matters enormously here, Cancer, because we already know that resistance exists around your love life. We already know that the path to your heart has had obstacles placed on it deliberately. The Knight of Wands is the energy that does not care about those obstacles. What I am picking up here is that the good love your family blocked before is not gone. It is either returning in a new form or arriving for the first time through someone who carries this energy, someone devoted, driven, someone who pursues what they want without being easily discouraged. And unlike before, this time you will be awake enough to recognize it and brave enough to let it in without letting anyone else's interference determine its outcome. All right, I am moving to the ninth pile now. I am turning this card over. And the ninth card that came through for you today, Cancer, is the Seven of Pentacles. Cancer, this card just stopped me for a second because what I'm seeing here feels like it's been standing guard this whole time and not in a good way. What I'm looking at is a tall, dark figure made of twisted branches, almost like a scarecrow or an effigy, looming directly over a woman sleeping peacefully among pumpkins and small, round, pale coins scattered across the ground. The contrast is striking. All of that abundance right there within reach, while this constructed, deliberate figure stands directly above her and she has no idea it's even there. Here's what's landing for me. Cancer, this is your success. The recognition, the opportunities, the things you've actually earned through years of effort, like we saw back in Eight of Pentacles, it's all still there. It never disappeared. But something was deliberately placed above it. Something built, not natural, not random, and that effigy is your family. The same family we've been tracing through this entire reading. The ones watching, the ones who blocked that good love, the ones who never wanted you to actually succeed. In real life, this might look like opportunities that quietly went to someone else first, recommendations that never quite made it to you, or a persistent feeling that something was deliberately positioned to keep your light from being seen, even when you couldn't name what it was. Emotionally, this card carries a strange kind of grief, the realization that you weren't failing on your own. Something was built and placed there on purpose. And here's the wisdom in this. Cancer, an effigy only holds power while no one looks at it directly. The moment you see it for what it actually is, just branches, just construction, just something someone made, it stops being able to stand over anything. What's yours has been yours the whole time. It was just waiting for you to wake up and see what was really there. All right, Cancer, here we are. The final pile, pile 10, the last card of this entire reading. I'm taking a moment with this one before flipping it over because something about this last draw feels important. And this final card is Four of Cups. Okay, Cancer, this is the final card. And I think this one brings everything full circle in a really quiet, bittersweet way. What I'm looking at is one fox sitting close to the cups, looking outward, almost unaware, while another fox stands further back, holding something small in its mouth, already caught, already its own. And that fox is looking toward the first one with what feels like sadness, not anger, just a quiet kind of grief. Here's what's landing for me, Cancer. After everything we've uncovered, the watching, the blocked love, the success that's been standing in a shadow, this final card is about what happens once you've actually gotten free. That fox in the back, the one holding what it caught, that's you. You've already done it. You've already claimed your own truth, your own freedom, your own path. That's the thing in your mouth. Already yours, already won. But you're still looking back at the cups, at your family, at the version of belonging you grew up believing in. And there's sadness in that look. In real life, this might show up as you finally stepping away from certain family dynamics, feeling lighter, freer, more yourself, and then suddenly, unexpectedly, feeling a wave of grief about it. Missing something that was never really good for you, but was still familiar, still home in some way. Emotionally, this is the part nobody really talks about. Cancer, you can be completely right to walk away, completely justified, completely free, and still feel sad about it. Having what you've earned doesn't erase the loss of what you wished your family could have been. And here's the guidance, Cancer. Let yourself feel that sadness without it pulling you back toward those cups. You're allowed to grieve a family that couldn't be what you needed while still walking forward with what's already in your hands. That's not weakness, that's wholeness, holding both truths at once and still moving forward. Sometimes the people who were supposed to open doors for you become, without knowing it, the very reason you learn to build your own. Cancer, before we close today, I need you to really sit with what just came through because this reading touched something that goes far deeper than most people are willing to look at. The people who were supposed to be your foundation were quietly the ones eroding it. They watched your potential, your growth, your opportunities. And instead of standing behind you, they positioned themselves just close enough to make sure none of it fully landed. Your success, your joy, your relationships, your sense of self worth, all of it was being quietly managed by hands you trusted completely. And I want you to know that none of what was withheld from you reflects your value. It reflects their fear of what you would become if no one stood in your way. Because look at what you are becoming anyway, Cancer. Even with everything working against you from the inside, imagine what happens now that you can finally see clearly. And that is the most beautiful kind of strength there is. Not the kind that was handed to you, not the kind that came easy, but the kind that was forged quietly, privately, in spite of everything and everyone that tried to keep you small. Thank you for being here today, Cancer. I love you. See you next time.